We've all heard the phrase, we become like the people we spend our time with, whether it was Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale, or it was biblical. We do truly become like the people we associate with. The question is, who are you spending your time with, and how are you treating those relationships that matter most? When I was 18 years old, I remember succinctly my dad pulling up in a Rolls Royce. Crazy, right? To my Honda 125cc motorcycle, literally a lawnmower on wheels, in front of my apartment that I share with my brother and his girlfriend at the time in Costa Mesa, California on Center Street. If you know anything about that, you know what that was like. And that car pulled up and he walked in, and I had not seen him since he had kicked me out of the house. So, it was a little tumultuous, and we spent a little time together, and I said, Dad, I've got probably purple hair at the time. And he looks at me and he's like, Tom, you become like the people you spend your time with. We've heard those phrases before, but there was something about that moment. Maybe it was because I was beginning a new journey of my life, that I was tired of the life that I had, or the lifestyle that I had, or the friction that I was creating all the time in my life for everyone else. And he literally said to me, there's only 3 kinds of people on the planet: positive, neutral, and negative. And I was like, got it. And he said, do you have a yellow notepad? I'm like, I don't have a yellow notepad. He went down to his car, got a yellow notepad, came up with a pen, put it in front of me with a pen and said, I'd like you to list out all the people in your life that are positive. And I said, what do you mean? He said, these are the people that are uplifters. They're gonna challenge you. They're gonna want you to get better, right? When you're having a bad day, they're not gonna be in a pity pot party with you. They're actually gonna say, come on, let's go do something. Let's change our state. Let's go learn something new. Let's go try something. Let's go get in action, right? Because we know that's what you have to do when you're in that bad state. But so many people we spend our time with, they're like, let's have a glass of wine and let's moan and bitch and complain about it together, right? He said, those people you don't want to spend a lot of time with. They're in your life, but you don't want to spend the time there. Who are the positive ones? And I remember literally going, Dad, Matt, my brother, and I had no one else on the list. And it was like a lightning rod. It hit me. Man, you do truly become like the people you spend your time with, and I'm not spending enough time with these 2 people. Then I looked at the neutral list, and it was a couple of my family members, and I said, could you define neutral for me? And he said, neutral means like they're kind of vanilla, like whatever you do, they're just kind of whatever. They're not negative about it, they're not positive about it, they're neutral. And I listed out some names there. And look, this was just one 18-year-old kid's perspective. It doesn't mean that these people were more positive or more negative or more neutral, but it was my point of view as I was relating to these people. And then the negative list was just about every person I went to high school with, all my friends and buddies, and I looked at the list, and it wasn't that I didn't love them anymore. What I understood was, if I was going to start setting goals for myself, if I was going to move my life from this little apartment, which by the way I bought my first house literally within 9 months, when I was going to make that transition, that leap, I needed to spend time with people that were committed to the similar leaps, that were on a similar journey, whether it was spiritual, their relationship, their business, their finance, whatever it was. I needed to spend time with people that were doing that. And you know what? I started to find them. I identified the list. I didn't call people that were on the negative list, like, hey, you're on my negative list, don't call me anymore, right? Like, no, you didn't do that. When you just sort of shift your focus and you just all of a sudden kind of start going this way, especially when it's really positive, when it's really ambitious, when it's really, sort of growth mindset, that a lot of those people, they just slowly start to, trim away, if you will. I never was negative to them. I honored every one of them. I still see some of them now and then. I just don't see them all that often, because I know if I spend time with people that are moving forward, when I spend time with people, and again, I want to be clear, it's not all business. Sometimes it's my buddy who's a doctor who's trying to figure out, like, hey, can I solve this issue with the brain? It's so far out of my comfort zone, but with him, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm expanding, and you know what? He's also fun. So I asked myself, how can I slowly over time remove this group? How can I call the neutral people and not call them out and say, hey, Mom, you're neutral in my life? That would be a weird conversation. But instead, I looked at the neutral people that were on my list and I said, okay, they're wishy-washy probably because I'm wishy-washy with them, that I'm not declaring the things I want. I'm not asking them, how can I help? What can I do to make a contribution to you? What are you committed to? I was wishy-washy, they were wishy-washy, if that makes sense. And you know what? I called a few of them and I said, I'm kind of on this kick right now that I need to shrink my really tight circle down to the people that are on a similar path. Are you interested? And guess what happened? A whole bunch of them said they were interested. And all of a sudden, my neutral list shrunk and my positive list began to grow. And I want to be clear, I didn't need 100 over here. I know thousands of people around the world, and I have lots and lots and lots of friends. I'm talking about that tight little group that you connect with the most hours of the day, the most sort of, weeks of the year, that you're with them, and you're with them because that bond is so strong. We are in this together. And I would argue, could you do the same? Could you ask yourself, could you have that moment of clarity without any ego or judgment of the people on the list, just your interpretation? Who's negative? Who's neutral? Who's positive? The neutral ones, embrace them. Figure out if there's something that you can do to contribute to them. Don't call them and say, I've set some goals for myself and I'm ready to take over the world and you are neutral. You would be an idiot, right? That would be a rude thing to do. Instead, you call them and say, I'm working on this project. I really want to take some areas of my life to a different level. And you know how much I love and appreciate you. And I'm just curious, do you have any of those? Maybe we can work on something together. Maybe we can collaborate. Let's go for a walk. Let's start a book club. Whatever it may be, but let's start furthering our lives together. If they're like, look, I'm not into that. I've got something going on right now. I'm not going to cross them on my list. I'm not going to put them on the negative side. I'm just going to acknowledge that person's going to get a little less of my time. Now, some of you will argue, gosh, Tom, if you only spend time with the people that are positive and optimistic, aren't you missing the contrast of life like you've talked about in the past? My response to you is, look, I'm still going to have all these people. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all that negative shit is going to be there whether you like it or not, and it will tie up some emotions and conversations of all the people in your life. I'm just saying to you, if you had that band of brothers, right? Those 4 women that were so tight, so committed, so passionate about this journey, recognizing how short our lives really are. If you had that core group to support you and you to support them, the journey will be magical. All these other people will be there, my friends, but you truly become like the people you spend the most time with. And I would challenge you to challenge your time. Who are you going to spend your time with? That's the point of the day.